Hey guys, I'm going to go over rotations, and this is about the origin, just the origin. So I want to look at my rules here. I want to go 90 degrees counterclockwise. So if I'm going to do that, I'm starting with x, y, and that's going to give me negative y, x. So I'm going to flip my x and y value, keep my x the same, and then do the opposite to my y. If I'm going to do 180 degree counterclockwise turn, that means xy is going to go to negative x, negative y. And my 270 counterclockwise is going to give me y negative x. Now remember, our 90 degrees counterclockwise is the exact same thing as saying 270 clockwise. The 180 doesn't matter because you're just going to end up in the opposite quadrant anyways. And then 270 counterclockwise is the same thing as saying 90 clockwise. So just so we know, if I'm going around this way, this is my counterclockwise. And if I go around this direction, this way, that is my clockwise direction. Okay? All right, so let's try this. I want to go 90 degrees counterclockwise, which means my rule is going to be xy goes to negative yx. Okay, so I'm starting with t at -3, -1, which means I'm going to flip my guys. So I'm going to get a -1, -3. I just flipped those locations there. And then I'm going to have to make my y the opposite, which is going to be a positive. So my t prime is going to give me 1, -3. Doing the same thing for my u, I'm going to get 0, -2. So I'm going to flip these guys and get -2, 0. I'm just switching these guys' spots right here. And then I know that my y is supposed to be the opposite, which is going to be a +2. So I'm going to get 2, 0. For v, I'm starting with -2 and -8. So I'm going to flip these guys, switching their spots here. So I'm going to get -8, -2. But my y is going to have to change to be the opposite, which is going to give me a +8. So I'm going to get 8, -2. And then my last one, I'm going to start with -5, -7. And when I swap these guys, I'm going to get -7, -5. But my y again has to be the opposite. So I'm going to change my -7 to be a +7. So I get 7, -5. 180. My rule for 180 doesn't matter if I'm going to go clockwise or counterclockwise because I'm going to end up in the same quadrant here. I'm going to get -x, -y, which means I'm not going to I'm not going to flip my x and y. I'm going to keep them right where they are. I'm just going to change it so it's going to be the opposite, whatever it is. If it's a positive, it turns to a negative. If it's negative, it turns positive. So let's see here. My x, I'm starting with 3, -2. And all I'm doing is keeping them the same. So I'm just going to make these guys the opposite of what they are, which is going to be a negative and a positive. So I'm going to get -3, +2. For my y, I'm starting with 6, 1. And I'm going to do the opposite, keeping them in the same spot and just doing the opposite, which means I'm going to have a negative, negative. So I'm going to get -6 and -1. And then my last one, I have the point 5, -7, doing the opposite to both of these guys. So I'm going to get a negative, positive. So my answer is going to be -5, +7. And one more, going 270 counterclockwise. So my rule for this guy is going to be xy goes to y -x. So I'm going to write all of these out. I'm going to get 0, -2 as my starting. I'm going to get 7, -6 as my starting, and 3, -8 as my starting. And for all of these, I'm going to flip them. So I'm going to flip my x and y. So I'm going to get -2, 0, -6, 7, and -8, 3. But from here, I'm going to take my x value, which is this part now, and I'm going to do the opposite. Well, 0 doesn't matter. The opposite of +7 is -7, and the opposite of +3 is -3. So my g prime is going to give me -2, 0. H prime is going to be -6, 7, and I prime is -8, -3.